Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mesa Public Schools Virtual College Fair. We are so excited to have you participating in this event and have some really fantastic schools here with us today. My name is Karis, and I will be serving as your facilitator for the night. So before we get started, just a couple quick housekeeping items. The first one, you've probably already noticed, your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists can't see or hear you. You can, however, use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. This is just one of the many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the schedule on the website. This presentation is also being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/Greater Arizona. Well, those are all of my announcements, and so without further ado, I would like to turn it over to our first presenter, which looks like it will be New Mexico Military Institute.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I hope that everyone's doing well, and I am excited that all of you are considering a career in the military. So if you've never heard of New Mexico Military Institute, we are one of 5 military junior colleges in the country. Actually, 1 in 4 military junior colleges in the country. We're located in Roswell, New Mexico. I will include my contact information and some links in the chat after my presentation, but to kind of give you an overview about our education, I like to tell our students that they get more than an education at our school, and that's because we educate our cadets through the 3 facets of a person: the mind, the body, and the soul. So we educate the mind through academics, the body through physical fitness, and the soul through character and leadership development. We believe that each 3 of these facets are essential to create the future leaders of tomorrow. Additionally, our junior college has an 89% success rate, and we are ranked the 2nd best junior college in the country. Briefly, these are a list of the associate degrees that we have offered. So we have a education, liberal arts education for our cadets, but we also have degrees in the maths and sciences. So at our school, you can get an associate's degree and then transfer to a 2-year school to complete your bachelor's. So so these presentations are only 6 minutes long, so it's hard to kind of talk about an entire university or institution in that time. So please make sure to ask questions. So to briefly talk about the 2 programs of our school for students who want to go in a career in the military, the first is our Academy Preparatory Program. So we participate as a receiving school for the 5 service academies. I know that West Point is here with us, so I'm really excited to hear their presentation. Our prep program is a year long, and we help prepare participants for academy life, mentally, physically, and academically. So we have 2 tracks of students. So we have sponsored preps. So these are students who have completed the application but have been asked by a service academy to attend a prep program. A lot of reasons why students are asked to attend a prep program are GPA or test scores. And a lot of students who are sponsored choose to attend our program because we have a reputation for preparing cadets who go on to succeed and excel at the service academies. Self-preps are students who we'd like to think of them as free agents. So these are students who have a strong desire to attend an academy, but they want to make themselves look as competitive as possible. So they choose to attend our school. Self-preps have about a 38% higher chance of receiving an appointment just from attending our school. The other program that we have is our early commissioning program. So only military junior colleges offer an early commissioning program. So cadets graduate from our school with an associate's degree, along with a commission in the Army as a 2nd lieutenant in 2 years instead of the traditional 4. So after students graduate from our program, they'll have 36 months to complete their bachelor's degree. They will serve as a non-deployable officer during that time. Once they receive their bachelor's degree, then they can choose to assess active duty, go into the Army Reserves, or with the National Guard. There's a lot of financial incentives for students to receive their commission earlier, as they accrue time served while receiving their bachelor's degree, and they have a lot of received benefits for promotions and retirements. There is a critical window to be accepted if you are looking to participate in our ROTC program in the fall. So just to keep that in mind. Something that sets our school apart from other military junior colleges is that we provide the same education at half the price. And that's because we are the only state-supported school of our kind. So we have a lot of financial incentives for students, scholarships, financial aid. So to kind of quickly break down the cost of attending our school, non-residents, so students who don't live in New Mexico, the cost for the entire year is about $23,000. So that price includes tuition, room and board, uniform, everything that you need within our school is within that price. Additionally, we have a U.S. Armed Services tuition discount. So if you are a dependent of someone who serves in the military, then you can receive in-state tuition. So that price jumps down about $7,000. And that price again is without any kind of financial aid or scholarships. So to quickly summarize, our applications are open now. You can complete the process online, and you don't have to pay an application fee. As I said, it is extremely hard to limit an institution in just 6 minutes. So please make sure to ask any questions that you have about not only NMMI, but any other institution. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We will keep things going with our next institution, which will be California State University Maritime Academy.
Hello, thank you for that introduction. My name is Jessica. I'm the Senior Enrollment Services Counselor with CSU Maritime Academy, also known as Cal Maritime, because California State University Maritime Academy doesn't fit on most government forms. I have a brief overview of a little bit of everything about our institution. So I'm definitely going to cover our majors, what there is to do, some things that set us apart from the rest of the maritime academies, and of course, how to get in and how much it costs. But I love opening up with this slide because it shows, it's an aerial shot of our campus. You actually start out with a drone or bird's eye view of our athletic field, Bodner Field, which is where most of our rugby games and soccer will take place, as well as drills for a number of other sports programs. And then you'll also find dodgeball competitions, kickball especially. So there's always things happening. And then you can see as it continues down the hill, we are truly a waterfront campus. So we like to think of ourselves as a living learning laboratory because we're able to use the waterfront as a part of our students' education. So a few things, bragging rights, every institution has them. So we have what we call 4 compass points, and those are applied technology, intellectual learning, leadership development, and global awareness. And these are basically 4 things that we guarantee our students while they're here. So with applied technology, what I always tell students is that you are guaranteed an extremely hands-on experience. Pretty much when you hear the name academy in any higher education institution, you know that you are going to get a hands-on and personalized experience. And that's so true here. With intellectual learning, I always try to emphasize with my students that we're going to help you grow as a person in addition to teaching you these new skills. And with leadership development, that's a part of how you grow, is having opportunities to take on leadership roles and learn conflict management skills and interpersonal communication skills. A lot of these that translate, of course, into job opportunities down the line, or help build you up for success with potential for those who receive a commission from one of our military options or decide to enlist post-graduation. Now, with global awareness, this is something that separates us from the rest of the California State University system, like San Diego State and Sac State, is that we require all of our students to travel internationally prior to graduation. So our programs vary depending on what major you are. So they're either unique to the Maritime Academy experience, or they're unique to Cal Maritime. Now, we have approximately 900 students. We are by far the smallest Cal State in the system. So our average class size is about 18. But what that means is for the number of students that surround you per faculty, you're looking at about a 14-to-1 student to faculty ratio. We do also have the highest employment rate in the Cal State system, and that does take commission and enlistment into consideration for our graduates. Now, we have 7 majors, all of which lead back to the water because that's our niche market. Now, we're the only maritime academy west of Texas. So while that does give us an advantage, we also strive to being one of the most technologically advanced. So that also gives our students a little bit of a leg up. Now, our business administration program has 2 focuses. So a lot of young men and women have been learning more about the supply chain because their goods and items haven't been getting to them, like the boba tea shortage of the summer, or just being able to get their prime items and such. So they're learning more about that supply chain process, and that's what we focus on. So there's a concentration on international supply chain as well as international maritime business. Global Studies and Maritime Affairs is more of a policy-based major. So it's great for students that are interested in going into international task force, maybe going to work for the State Department or other levels of government. Now, we have 3 types of engineering, including mechanical engineering and, of course, marine transportation, which is learning how to navigate large vessels. I do want to point out for our military options, we have ROTC, which includes Navy, Marine, and Air Force ROTC, Coast Guard Reserve programs, and a specialized Navy and Marine Reserve program called the Strategic Sea Lift Officer Program. For the Strategic Sea Lift Officer Program, only what's called licensed track majors qualify for that specialty program, and that includes mechanical engineering licensed, marine engineering technology, and marine transportation. Otherwise, for our Coast Guard programs and ROTC, all of our 7 majors qualify. Now, in addition to having a Corps of Cadets, which is the regimented student body, and having uniforms that are worn to class and such, we also have plenty of opportunities for students to develop a well-rounded social life. So we have plenty of clubs, we've got great competitive sports teams, and I do want to say we are not as regimented as some of the other maritime academies. Each one is a little different. Each one is unique in how they structure their academic year, their admissions requirements, and of course, what they ask of our students. But all of the maritime academies will ask you to wear a uniform. It's a part of the maritime academy experience. So for us, on our end of the spectrum, there are no room inspections. There's no, oh, sorry, there was a bug in here. There's no physical drilling. There's no saluting by the entire campus body. And there's also no bed checks or lights out. We don't tell you when you can or can't leave campus, but we definitely expect more of you as a cadet and as a college student than a typical state college experience. So with those international experiences, the engineers and the marine transportation students will sail around the globe with our 500-foot training ship. They are responsible for everything on that vessel. Quite literally, you break it, you will learn how to fix it. If you don't break it, you'll still learn how to fix it because someone else broke it. But it puts you in a little bit of a controlled environment to make these mistakes and to learn from these mistakes and to just quite simply learn all of the operations of a vessel so that at the end of the 4 years, you're qualified to go out and to operate and work as a third assistant engineer or a third mate, depending on what program you're in. Now, our business, global studies, and oceanography majors do not go on board the training ship. They fly to another country and they live in that country for about a month. So it's designed to be more of a professional immersion experience. I do want to mention that these international experiences are required, but they're also required on top of industry experience. So our students are required to travel, and they're also required to complete at least 1 internship. If a student is in a military option, a military reserve option, and they have summer requirements, we usually are able to make them line up and have that summer requirement meet or have that summer activity meet the requirement for their military reserve option and their academic requirement through Cal Maritime. Speaking of academic requirements, we basically require, there's no congressional appointment for us as a Cal State. There's no essay, personal statement, or interview. What we're looking at is your academic coursework. So English, math, science, history, foreign language, and visual and performing arts. I do want you to pay special note to those last 2, visual and performing arts and a foreign language, because sometimes students coming from outside of California may not meet our minimums. So you can find all of those on our website, but for an out-of-state resident, we're looking for at least a 3.0 GPA. I will mention some of our majors are impacted, meaning they are competitive to get into. We'd like to see more than a 3.0. We'd like to see between a 3.25 and a 3.5 for the competitive range. Now, in addition to looking at our minimums for the impacted majors, we'll also take your math GPA into consideration, which is all of your math courses, as well as any extracurricular activities. For finances, we are very affordable. You qualify for what's called WUI, which is a Western Undergraduate Exchange. It's essentially a scholarship that's automatically applied to you. Your only need is to be from a WUI state, which is anything west of North and South Dakota. So the other expenses you'd find would be your cost of living on campus, your meals, your uniform, and of course that summer tuition expense. But there are a number of scholarships on our website that you can also compete for. We strongly recommend that you look for those free sources for funding, because the best way to go to college is to get someone else to pay for it. Last but not least, make sure, for seniors, applications are open. They will close December 15th. So again, all of these deadlines are on our website. I just want to, I know I have a limited amount of time, so I want to emphasize this last slide. This is how you sign up for our mailing list. So take out your phone, snap a QR code, or follow us on social media. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to post all of this information as well as my contact information in the chat so that I can yield the floor to the next participant. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Jessica. I will go ahead and turn it over to our next institution, which is CAE, Phoenix Aviation Academy.
Perfect. Okay, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Can you guys see my screen? I don't know if it's coming up or not.
Yes, you're good to go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So hello, everybody. My name is Nick. I'm a training advisor here at CAE in Arizona. We're one of the premier trainers of aircraft pilots here in Arizona. So we have one location in the Valley located at Falcon Field in Mesa, Arizona. And tonight, what I want to talk to you a bit about is our training environment. I think that's what sets us apart from a lot of the other aviation academies here in the Valley. And I think it's important to consider if you are, thinking about going down that path of becoming a professional pilot. So CAE, just a little bit of background. We've been around for just north of 70 years now, 74 to be exact. So we have a long history in aviation, and CAE originally started as a simulator company. So all of the airline pilots that fly professionally have to go finish their type ratings and their trainings in flight simulators. So we are the largest manufacturer and provider of flight simulators in the entire world, and we train many pilots from over 300 airlines globally. So in terms of the training environment here in Arizona, we are a Part 141 school, which you can see there on the left, which is a little bit different than a Part 61 school. There are a lot of Part 61 schools out there, and it's a little bit different environment whenever it comes to the delivery and the pace of the training. So in a structured 141 school environment, you're going to be looking at ground school being in person, and you're going to have designated flight missions opposed to flight missions that aren't strictly designated or monitored in the 61 environment. We also have a flight training chain of command. We have an on-site flight safety office, flight operational staff, and a full on-site maintenance facility as well. We have FAA testing facilities, and we get regular visits from our major and regional airline partners as well. We also have 80 plus aircraft here at Falcon Field, and at any given time we have between 550 and 650 students that are being taught by 170 full-time flight instructors. So it's a pretty big operation that we have here, and we take students from all over the world. So we have Middle Eastern programs that come here and train with us. We have a lot of our Asian airline partners that send cadets to our training facility out here. And we also have a lot of EASA students, which are the European FAA regulators, essentially, that send their cadets out here to train with us as well. So it's a very large school, and it's a very structured training environment, and we operate on very high standards. So some of our airline specific training programs and what really sets us apart from other schools out there is we train pilots directly for the listed airlines on here. So in terms of our domestic programs, we have JetBlue, American Airlines, and Southwest. And what that means for you as somebody who's looking into flight training is you aren't going to go through the whole training period and then start interviewing after that. So you will be interviewing with JetBlue, American Airlines, or Southwest of your choosing before you even step foot in our building on day one and start your training. So that airline is going to have a visual on you as to your performance. They know you. They do regular visits inside of our academy to check up on their cadets. And they also fly you out to their facilities. Some are in Dallas and some more towards the East Coast in Florida to actually come do training while you're in your initial cadet training here. So it's a very hands-on learning environment in terms of the airline, and it's arguably the most direct path to get there. So you can see the pricing here. They do vary, JetBlue being the least expensive airline-specific training program that we currently have. And then it goes up to Southwest, which is right over 101. So it is a big investment. Flight training is not an inexpensive thing. What we want to do, our goal at the end of the day, is to set you up for the success in the best way we possibly can. Those QR codes on there, feel free to scan those if you guys want. That's going to give you access to our pilot questionnaire. It's tailoring your pilot path. And if you're unsure, which airline's going to fit you right, which career path is going to be best, feel free to scan that QR code or visit the websites listed below on each of those respective columns to be able to visit our website and learn a little more about the programs. So the flight training timeline, essentially after you confirm your eligibility, there is that screening and assessment piece and built into there that does take roughly a month or two for your interviews and processing. After that, you'll go through your training period, which is 12 to 14 months, and then onto hour building as an instructor. After you build up your hours as a flight instructor, you then move to the regional airlines and the major airlines as a career. So from start to finish, from zero experience forward, it's about 3 to 5 years until you actually start training and looking at getting hired with one of the airlines. We do have some financing partners in line. So we have Southwest has their own Southwest Credit Union. American and JetBlue use Discover, and then we also have Sallie Mae and Maritime as well. So there's definitely ways to fund your training. And then I'll skip ahead here just to let everybody know, because I'm running low on time now. If you wanted to scan this QR code, this will take you directly to our registration link for an on-site event that we're hosting with American Airlines on Tuesday, November 9th. So it's no obligation, no cost to sign up. We are going to have one of their E-170s on site as well, so you can give that a tour and get in the cockpit of that airline. And then we also will have Envoy, PSA, and Piedmont there as well, doing on-site interviews and presentations. So feel free to use this contact information. I know 6 minutes is not a lot of time, and it's a very intensive topic to talk about if you're considering this as a job. But feel free to reach me through one of these avenues, and thank you for your time.
Reminder, if you all have any questions, I would encourage you to put those into the Q&A feature, so our panelists can answer those. But I will turn it over to our next institution, which will be Embry-Riddle Autonautical University.
All right, let me get this screen shared here. All right, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Dave Hernandez, Assistant Director of Admissions at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And as that name would imply, yes, a big part of what we do is aviation and aerospace related, but we might as well be called Embry-Riddle Polytechnic University, because when you look at our list of degrees, and we will, that is exactly what we are. We are a STEM-focused university, and we focus on two things at Embry-Riddle: STEM, science, technology, the undergraduate student. So you are getting both at Embry-Riddle, and when we combine them at Embry-Riddle the way that we do, it turns into incredible outcomes in the form of employment rates amongst the highest in the nation, and in return on investment are paid very, very well, as you're going to see. Our students are heavily recruited by companies like Boeing, NASA, Lockheed, SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, Raytheon, U.S. military, the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, all the major airlines, all the major drone companies, Intel, Honeywell, the U.S. Department of Energy, and on and on. They all know exactly who we are because they actively recruit on our campus. So our campus, we have two residential campuses, one in Daytona Beach, Florida. Today, I'll be primarily focusing on our Prescott, Arizona campus, or we like to say Prescott, up in the mountains of Arizona, not the desert. As you can see, then down in the valley in Phoenix, elevation. So we get cooler temperatures, but lots of good weather. In the wintertime, if we get snow, it melts within a day or two. So it's a mild winter. It's a beautiful area of Arizona. This is not all of our campus, but it's a good chunk of it. But I love this photo because it shows the beautiful natural settings that we're in. I mean, literally right across the street, you can go kayaking, the granite dells, you can go hiking, rock climbing, etc. Embry-Riddle is a private nonprofit co-ed resident. In other words, we're university internships, 200 plus clubs of all types, ranging from ballroom dancing to skydiving to Quidditch to robotics and everything in between. Students from all 50 states from all over the world. Our average class size legitimately is about 24 students. You'll have some a lot smaller. If they're bigger, they might be 35 or 40 at most. So we try and keep our class sizes very small because that leads to a better education and a lot of hands-on, which is one of the things we're most known for. Embry-Riddle truly is a world-class STEM university. We've been ranked #1 in aerospace engineering in our category for 20 consecutive years by U.S. News and World Report. The overall College of Engineering, Aerospace, Computer, Electrical, Mechanical, and Software Engineering has been ranked consistently in the top 10 to 20 by U.S. News and World Report. We produce more college graduates to Boeing than any university in the country. 10 of all college observatories in the nation, and it's right on our campus in Prescott. We have a 100% medical school acceptance rate to date. You're reading that right. We have 2 biology degrees at Embry-Riddle Prescott, forensic biology and applied biology. We have graduates that go on to crime labs. We have a recent grad that's literally CSI Las Vegas working in a crime lab. That was her dream job. She got it straight out of Embry-Riddle. But over the years, we've had a few dozen graduates that applied to medical school and got accepted. Every single one of them has gotten accepted. A tremendous testimony to the quality of our biology degrees. We are the reigning national champions for collegiate flight. We won our 13th year. When you combine us with our Prescott campus, we've won 14 national champions. So you're looking at a world-class flight university here up in the mountains of Arizona. And then the intelligence. Our faculty are literally former CIA, Secret Service, FBI, military intelligence, and that is where our students are going at a very, very high rate. How high a rate? Well, we have a 94% employment rate across all of our degrees. If you break that down, 91% are employed in their degree field, what they studied at Prescott. They're going straight from Embry-Riddle to Boeing, NASA, Lockheed, SpaceX. The current director of flight operations at NASA is a graduate of our campus, and he doesn't even have a master's degree. We have 9 alumni who are astronauts. You're looking at a phenomenal university if you want to do rocket science. We also rank in the top 1% of return on investment of all U.S. universities. Time Magazine called us the Harvard of the skies, and I like that. That's a nice way to put it. So now the question is, how do we achieve all these accolades? And there's a lot more I could show you, but it all boils down to this statement right here. All undergraduates on our campus are treated like graduate students. They get to do, undergrads at Embry-Riddle get to do things that normally masters and doctoral students, and it plays out in all these areas here. You're never going to be taught by a graduate student ever. You're going to be using state-of-the-art labs, supersonic wind tunnels, robotics labs, materials labs, electron microscopes, all for the undergrad. Extensive undergrads get to do a lot of hands-on research. You can see we really are a polytechnic university. Our flight degree is the aeronautical science degree. All your professors there are former airline, corporate, military, drone pilots. We also have drone degrees as well. And everything in between. That 94% employment rate applies to all of them. They are all in the 90 percentile range. So you can't go wrong in these fields at Embry-Riddle Prescott. And this is where our graduates are going. 84% employment rate with organizations like what you see on this slide. And this is just, so you can go non-aerospace companies as well. As you can see, Intel and Apple and Netflix are not aerospace companies, and yet they recruit. So as far as applying and admissions, you're going to at erau.edu. You can use that fee waiver code to waive the application fee. As far as what you'd need to submit, I'm going to skip ahead a couple of slides here. We do have very good scholarships, 1,000 per year, potentially full tuition Air Force and Army ROTC scholarships as well. And that concludes my presentation. There's so much more we could say. 6 minutes is just not a lot of time, but we like to say at Embry-Riddle, it really is rocket science. That's my contact information right there, and I will put it in the chat as well. So thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen.
Perfect. We will keep things going, and we will turn it over to our next institution and our final one of the night, which is West Point United States Military Academy.
Hello, everyone. All right. So my name is Captain Nicole Basaki. I'm West Point class of 1999, and I am located in Arizona, although West Point is located in New York. So I know everybody on here has been focused around the Southwest, and that's how I got into this, is because I am local to you guys. So I am happy to help with applications and, meet with you and explain more if you have questions. So I put my contact information in the chat already, so I'm going to skip over that. I just have a nice picture there on the Hudson River showing what West Point looks like when it's not snowy. I know it does get pretty snowy though. So West Point, for those of you who are not familiar with the service academies, each branch of the service has their own college, and it's a 4-year university. Almost all of the service academies are known to be at a Ivy League college, and they're constantly ranked in the top 10, even the top 5 of Forbes, Wall Street Journal, all of the top rankings. And they really are Ivy League schools, but I believe, I'm a little biased, that they are a step above, because like many of the other military colleges that I've already talked, they really develop an entire person instead of just an academically sound person. They're going to teach you how to be a leader. And this is the premier leadership school in the United States. There's been so many famous people that have gone there. Others have mentioned astronauts, senators, presidents, everything like that. I mean, West Point's been around since 1802, and it's probably has more famous people, and we're adding to it regularly. We have current senators and current CEOs of civilian companies. I think this is one of the few colleges, other than the other service academies, where you can say that you will go to an Ivy League college for free. Everybody goes for free, which is a key point. And when you graduate, you pay it back by serving 5 years active duty, but you only have 15 people in your class as a typical size. Your professor provides all additional assistance. You don't have to worry about any assistance helping you if you have additional questions. There's no dedicated student hours. Instead, it's whenever you need help, those professors are willing to help you. The main goal is to prepare you to be an Army leader. So once you're there, you're going to develop in all aspects: academic, physical, military, and character. The character is to teach you to be a strong leader and to do what's right as you're a military leader put into hard situations. The academics are also very hard, but what makes it the most difficult is that you are expected to do everything. While you're there, you're still going to military training, you're still taking PE classes, and you are put into leadership positions and graded on your performance, and everything rolls into your total grade as a requirement. Here are some of the current majors. I'm going to go pretty fast on that because you can just contact me if you're interested in seeing that list again. And while you're there, you get chances to go as a cadet to some of the Army schools. And this is a little different. ROTC also gets chances to go to these schools, but West Point is known to possibly get a few extra positions. When you graduate, you are a second lieutenant, just like ROTC though. So I know service academies aren't for everyone. And you're commissioned the same as an ROTC cadet upon graduation. It's a Division I for sports. They usually perform very well in every sport except football is usually the lowest ranking nationally. But as long as we beat Navy, we never really care. And some basic requirements: you do have to be a US citizen, and there is an age limit, 17 to 22. Otherwise, you do take the SAT or the ACT, either one. You do not take the ASVAB as you do when you're enlisting. So because it is a university, you have to pass a fitness exam, which includes push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, run, things like that. I can give, and you also have to pass the medical requirements, the same as joining the military. There is a summer leadership experience. So this is only for the summer between your junior and your senior year. I highly recommend going if you get the chance. You apply just like you do for your application on the West Point admissions website, and you just check a box that says you're interested in going to SLE. And that puts you in the running to get a competitive spot to go. You basically live the life of a cadet, and you get to do some things. Every candidate that I've known that's come back from SLE, it's been black or white on whether they want to attend or not. They either love it and they're all in, or they realize it's not for them. So it's a great experience, and it really helps you figure out if this is for you. All the service academies provide this. All the service academies also provide a prep school. So there are different methods and routes to get in, and I'd be happy to provide information on that to anybody. Just reach out. I can meet with you in person at your schools or anything like that. My favorite picture is graduating, and then you go off and serve as a second lieutenant in the military. That's it.
Perfect. Well, we have got just a couple minutes left, and so I am going to go ahead and share my screen again, and ask all of our panelists to go ahead and turn their screen back on. And we will close things out with one final question I have for everyone. And our final question is going to be, what is one thing that you want students to remember about your school?
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to turn my video back on.
I know I presented last, but I have something from West Point. So I think the biggest myth for me is that you have to have military experience to go to a service academy. You do not. Many students go straight out of high school with no military experience.
Okay, so I think for me, my biggest recommendations for, are we answering the previous question?
Yeah, so y'all are all answering the same question of what is one thing you want students to remember about your school?
Oh, I saw a different question on the screen, sorry. So I think the biggest thing that I would want students to take away from New Mexico Military Institute is that, again, you get more than an education at our school. Additionally, we are the most affordable school of our kind in the country, again, because we are, we receive funds from the state of New Mexico to keep the costs as low as possible for our students.
And this is Nick from CAE. I think one of the biggest takeaways and the most important thing compared to pretty much everybody who's presented tonight, not everybody, is we don't offer a degree program, right? So we are not an accredited college. We are more of a quote unquote trade school. But when you're thinking in terms of trade schools, you know, the earning potential involved with a profession like this is very high. So you definitely have to be passionate about it because it's not easy. It's a tough field to get into. Pilot school is not, I guess, for the faint of heart. But you know, once you do get through it, you're going to start between $80 and $100,000 a year, and some of these airline captains are making, you know, $400,000. So it's a good career field to be in, but we are not a degreed university. So just so everybody's aware on that. Thank you.
And Dave Hernandez from Embry-Riddle. And I guess, you know, going off of what Nick said, There's a difference between us and them. We do offer degrees. What I would say is, as far as what I would want you to remember about Embry-Riddle, is that as a bachelor's degree student, you're treated like a graduate student. Very small classes, very hands-on. You're only taught by professors, tons of undergraduate research. And all of those things add up to a very, very high employment rate. And that really sets us apart. I've had students turn down MIT and Caltech to come to Embry-Riddle when they compared what the undergrad gets to do. And it shows in our outcomes, very high employment rates and very high return on investment. And it's in a very fun environment as well. Very high level academics, but you still get all the fun of college. Definitely not a party school, but a lot of fun as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. When you close this window, there will be a link to a quick 5-question survey. And so we would appreciate any feedback that you could provide us about your experience here tonight. I also would encourage you to check back on the schedule and sign up for more sessions because we have tons more happening tonight. And then my final thing is that you will be able to find this session's recording as well as all of the other recordings at strivescan.com/Greater Arizona. Well, thank y'all again so much for joining us tonight and enjoy the rest of your sessions.